Hi, I'm Matt Emick, and I'm going to show you some Hyper Pro training strikes. Let's get started. The first strike I'm going to show you is a diagonal strike, and we're going to do the opposite what I showed you in the last lesson. In the last lesson, I showed you to strike with the left and then following with the right, bringing them up, going with the right, and then the left. Now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to bring them up. We're going to strike with the right and then the left, bring them up at the same time, then strike with the left and then the right. Demonstrate again. Now you can follow along with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I bring them up to my shoulders, I strike with my right, then I shift and strike with my left. I bring them up at the same time, I'm going to strike with my left, then I'm going to shift and strike with my right. It's basically the opposite. If we're going to the left direction, we're going to start with our right and then follow with the left. If we're going in the right direction, we're going to strike with the left, then strike with the right. Strike number 2 is going to be the same diagonal strike, only this time we're going to go over the head. So I'm going to go over the head with my right, left, and then come down. I'm still doing the same opposite diagonal strike, only I go over the head with the right, the left, then the right, and then the left again. Then going to the right direction, we go over the head with the left, the right, the left, the right, and then we step out and strike once more. One more time. Full speed. And now you can follow along with me. Those are your over the head diagonal strikes. Manipulations. The first manipulation I'm going to show you is our inward figure 8. Similar to the backwards figure 8, only now we're going to turn it sideways and both chucks are going to spin inward. It's real simple. Take your best hand. We're going to spin the nunchuck down and then up. Down and then up. You're going to do it fast. It's going to look just like this. Full speed. And then once you're comfortable with your right hand, then you're going to try your left. Once you're comfortable with both hands, then we try doubles. Here's your inward figure 8. Once you have your inward figure 8, then we're going to go to the outward figure 8, which is the same thing, just going in the opposite direction. Once again, pick my best hand. I'm going to spin it down and then up, down and up. Just like inward, only going the other direction. The outward figure 8 is real similar to the forward figure 8. As you notice, without stopping, I went from forward to an outward rotation because we're taking that forward figure 8 and turning it sideways. You have your inward figure 8s and your outward figure 8s. You can follow me. Inward, medium speed, and full speed. Outward, slow, medium speed, and full speed. Our next manipulation we're going to do is our inward figure 8, only we're going to alternate. So as one is up, the other one is down. One is high and one is low. We start at the same time, both are going inward. Make sure that they're both of the chucks are going in. Then from here, one low, one high. Try to keep one over your head and one about chest level. Usually looks best. You want to go slow. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll just hold the chucks and I'll move, get my wrists moving, get my arms moving in the rotation that I want to do it. This way I don't hit myself in the head and the back and the leg. And then once I get comfortable, I go to nice slow speed. And I pick it up, medium speed, and then full out. Your inward alternating figure 8. Then we can also do outward alternating figure 8. So just like we did the outward figure 8, now we're going to alternate both chucks going out. Same concept as going in, just going in the opposite direction. The last two manipulations we did, both chucks were going inward and then both chucks were going outward. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have one chuck go outward and one chuck going inward. So now both chucks are going in the same direction, but actually one is going out and one is going in. So it's gonna look like this. Once you have it on one side, you're gonna switch and go the other direction. Once again, left is going out, right is going in. You know, and usually what I do is I'll start on one side and then I'll move the chucks to the other side. And same thing going the other direction. Forward wheel. From the side view, this is one of my favorite techniques. We're gonna start by just holding the chucks. We're gonna do this move, just moving our arms, then we're gonna let the chucks out and we'll actually spin them. So first what I want you to do is, you're gonna bring your left arm out, your right arm is gonna come down. We're gonna make a big circle until we can't go anymore. Then we're gonna turn. Now notice I just turned my hips, I'm not turning my full body. Make a big circle in this direction until we can't go any further. Then I'm gonna spin and do it again. 1, 2. Now, once you have this position down, we're gonna bring this wheel all the way around. Before I get to this crossing point, I'm gonna turn and be at the crossing point facing this direction. So I make a big circle. Before I get to this cross point, I'm gonna turn my hips and face this direction. Imagine that there's a canvas on both sides of you and you're painting a big circle. A lot of times I see people and they just bring in their chucks back and forth, you know, they're just swaying back from side to side. You want your circle going in this direction. Another good way to practice is if there's a wall right next to you, you shouldn't hit the wall and you should be able to make this circle. And as my arms cross, I turn, cross my arms and turn, cross my arms. Once you can do this motion with holding both handles in your hands, then you can let the chucks out, and that's your forward wheel. And then of course I eliminate this hip turning, and I just face forward. Now you can follow along with me. I'll do the same thing, facing this direction. So once again, I'm holding my chucks like so. My left arm is out in a chop position. I bring my right arm out. I'm gonna make a big, big circle. Right before my arms hit, they make this X position, I'm gonna turn. Then I'm gonna make a big circle going in the same direction. Once I get to this point where they can't move anymore, I'm gonna turn and face this way and make a big circle. Down and up. The bigger, the better. Then once you have this movement down, I let the chucks out, and there's my forward wheel. It's better that you go slow in the beginning and just get the motion down, rather than doing it really fast. A few tips for doing this forward wheel. 1, this move generally looks better facing the side. Also, a lot of times people make it really tiny and they try to go for speed. With this move, I try to make it look pretty and make it as big as possible. And I also will roll my shoulders. As you can see straight on, by rolling my shoulders back and forth, I'll generate more speed rather than just staying stiff and making it tiny. I'll come here. From the side view. And that's your forward wheel. Backwards wheel. Once again, I'm going to explain it and teach it the same way as the forward wheel, since it's the same exact move, just going in the opposite direction. So once again, we hold our chucks. We're gonna face the left. The left hand is gonna be on top of our right. We're gonna make a big, big circle. Think again, like you're painting a picture, a big circle on a canvas. All right, so we're gonna bring our left over, right before we get to this cross point where we're making an X, I'm gonna turn my body and then make a big circle going in this direction. And then once again, right before my arms touch, I'm gonna turn and make a big circle and then turn. You wanna make sure that you're going backwards, so your strikes should be coming upward. They should be starting down and coming up. Coming up. Once you have this motion, then you're ready to let the chucks out, and then you'll have your backwards wheel. Let's try it again. You could follow along. Some tips on the backwards wheel. I learned this technique starting with a forward wheel. And what I did was I got a bunch of momentum and then I just turned my body and continued this wheel going in the opposite direction. Sometimes having that speed to set you up, you know, you're doing this motion here and then you turn and it will help to get this backwards spin going. Sometimes it's a bit awkward going in reverse. You know the motion, but you know, you're doing everything backwards. So that could help with your backwards wheel. Looping 8 figure 8. So by now you have your forward figure 8. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add an extra loop to this figure 8. So your basic figure 8, you're going 1 to 2, in, out, in, out. Now we're gonna add a third rotation and come around. So basically, when you're doing your figure 8, you're spinning it on the inside, then the outside. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn our arm over, pop our elbow up, and spin it this way. Then we come around. So the top of the chuck is facing in, we flip it, now it's facing out. Now we're gonna turn our arm, we're gonna continue the chuck to spin, the top of the chuck is facing out, and then back again. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then when we do it fast, it's gonna look like this. Now once you have it facing the front, try it to the side. It'll be a bit easier because you're gonna be able to open up and come in front of your body, and then you'll add this extra loop to the side. Now, of course, just like anything, all the other chuck moves, once you have it with one hand, then try the other hand. So we try it with the left. And once you've mastered it with both your right and your left, then you can try doubles at the same time. This only works if you do it facing the sides. If you try it in front, you know, your head and your shoulders pop out. So I like to do it this way. And again, they both spin, you know, in, out, then I flip them. In, out, and flip them. When I do it fast, here's your looping figure 8. Now that we have the looping figure 8, we're gonna do the double alternating looping figure 8. This is probably my favorite chuck move of all time. Here's what it looks like. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna face our left with our left leg in front. Here's the rule. If our right leg is back, our right chuck is gonna spin backwards. Our left leg is in front, our left chuck is gonna spin forward. So we're gonna spin our left chuck forward and our right chuck back. Let's start with one hand first. So we're gonna start with our right going backwards. We're gonna figure 8. Now our chuck is spinning forward and our right leg is in front. Now from here, I'm gonna add the looping figure 8 we just learned. Now it's spinning backwards. So again, my right leg is back, my right chuck is spinning back. I figure 8 it over, now my right leg is in front, my right chuck is spinning forward. Then I loop and figure 8 back, and I continue. Then we're gonna do the same thing with our left. So our left is spinning backwards because our left leg is back. We're gonna flip it over, now it's spinning forward. My left leg is forward. Then from here, I add this looping figure 8, and back to the figure 8. Looping figure 8, forward figure 8. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna combine both chucks. So now my right is spinning forward, my left is spinning back, my right leg is forward, my left leg is back. From here, my left is gonna do a figure 8, my right is gonna do the looping figure 8. Now my left is gonna do the looping figure 8, and my right is gonna do the forward figure 8. Once we speed this up, it turns into our alternating looping figure 8. I eliminate the stance work, my feet are shoulder width apart, and it's gonna look like this. Full speed. And medium speed. I recommend in the beginning, go slow until you get comfortable. Then you could build speed later. Let's try this again and you can follow along with me. Right leg's in front, right chuck spins forward, left chuck spins back, my left leg's back. I'm gonna switch. Switch again. I eliminate the stance work and just turn my hips. And then eventually, I don't turn my hips as much. I'm just spinning back and forth. And that's your double alternating looping figure 8. Chuck tricks. So by now you have your basic forward hand roll. You can go up and down. The first technique I'm going to show you is our crisscrossing figure 8 while hand rolling. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring our chucks up to our shoulder. We're going to cross our arms from this position we're gonna hand roll both chucks. We're gonna uncross our arms and then hand roll again. Bring them up, cross, hand roll, uncross, hand roll. Usually I spin them one time to get momentum and then bring them down. The key is make sure that your chucks are in the correct position. Your hand is in the correct position. This way you can fit your hand around the chain. So from here, bring them down and around. Full speed from the back. Up, down, cross, hand roll, uncross, hand roll again. Finger rolls. So same concept as the hand roll, only now we're gonna go around our fingers. We're gonna stick out our pointer finger. We're gonna hold the chuck at the very top of the handle, as far as your hand can go. You're gonna stick out your finger and let the chuck roll around your finger. Think of it like you're spinning a hanger. If you ever spun a hanger, you gotta kind of whip it really fast. If you go slow, hanger's gonna fall. So again, I whip the chuck, I flick it in my wrist. It's gonna do 1.5, and I'm gonna grab it in between this peace sign right here and secure. Once again, in that position. From here, we can either re-grip and hand roll it back, or you can finger roll it back in the other direction. So I finger roll one way, and I finger roll back. Here, and back. And of course, once you have the right hand, try your left. Then you can try doubles. Thumb roll, same as the hand roll and the finger roll. Now we're gonna wrap the chuck around our thumb. Basic concept, spins on the inside, goes right around my thumb. The breakdown, you're gonna hold the chuck at the very top. You want it to rotate on the inside of your arm. I'm gonna stick my thumb out and let the chuck roll right around. I'm gonna catch it on the negative grip. Once again, goes backwards, and then I catch it. You wanna start down so the chuck goes up. Stick the thumb out, catch the handle. Usually what I'll do is I'll do a backwards figure eight. I'll thumb roll, continue the backwards figure eight on the negative grip, and then from here I'll hand roll on the inside. Again, both times I'm hand rolling and thumb rolling on the inside of my arm. Backwards figure eight, thumb roll, continue the figure eight on the negative grip, and then from here I can hand roll it. Do it fast, thumb roll, hand roll. Thumb roll, hand roll. Or you have your basic thumb roll, you're just gonna thumb roll right in the middle. Get used to that first. Then you can move on to the next step, which would be doing your backwards figure eight. Then of course, once you try your right, you can try your left, and then you can do doubles. Thumb roll, hand roll. Thumb roll, hand roll. And that's your basic thumb roll. Chuck releases, easy concept. You take your chuck, you throw it in the air, you catch it, and you continue with your nunchuck moves. Some tips. So the first move I'm gonna show you is gonna be just a basic release. We're gonna throw it right in front of us, right in front of your body, and you're gonna catch it. When you throw your chuck, you wanna flick your wrist. You have to flick your wrist. Also, you want the chuck to spin like a straight stick. You don't want the chuck to go straight up in the air and rotate that way. It's not gonna look pretty. So what I do is I do my forward figure eight. Usually I'll do a looping figure eight to set up. I'll throw it, look the whole time, my eyes are on my chuck the whole time, and then I basically just grab it with my hand. Try to stay away from throwing it up and keeping your hand with your palm up and just looking for it. From here I throw it, you catch it, and you continue with your nunchuck moves. Our next move is gonna be the same release, only now we're gonna add a spin. We're gonna throw the chuck up, spin around, and then catch it. Let's do it again. Now when you throw in your chucks up, sometimes you're gonna catch it on the negative grip, sometimes you're gonna catch it on the positive grip. It's hard to count. With some weapons, you can actually count the rotation. With these chucks, they're really tiny, they're fast. you know, it's nearly impossible to count exactly how many times it's going to spin. What I try to do is I try to throw it with the same force and try to throw it with this around the same height. But again, within a split second, you'd be catching it on the negative grip, or you could possibly be catching it on the positive grip. So really it's luck. If you throw with the same force and around the same height, most of the time you're gonna catch it the same way. Sometimes you're gonna catch it in a positive grip, sometimes you're gonna catch it in a negative grip. If you catch it in a negative grip, you can just reposition and then continue with your section, or you could hand roll, thumb roll, or finger roll it back and then continue. The best way to practice is just repetition. It's trial and error. You're gonna have to throw your chuck up and catch it. Sometimes you're gonna catch it, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're gonna accidentally throw it all the way this way and you're gonna have to run and chase after it. Sometimes, you know, you're gonna throw it, it's gonna go low. Sometimes it's gonna go really high. You know, just try to get control, just trial and error. Try to throw it with the same speed and same height every time. Once you do that, it'll be easier to consistently catch it.